Federal fucking crime.
You haven't stopped talking since I hung up on from the last audio. This thing with Ratcliffe. He was always going to drop the ball. And Devin Nunes and Matt Gaetz. They were on the intelligence committee. They got the information. They surely got our information. It was sent all kinds of ways, and it was not examined. They dropped the ball. So now we've got John Ratcliffe over at the CIA, which has been, as you say, defanged and neutered. Kash Patel going over to the FBI, defanged and neutered. You know, the next thing that'll happen, Christy Noem over at Homeland Security, same way. So the next step would be to start defunding these agencies and just letting them quietly go away and then finally closed.
They all have to. He did this before. Remember, in his first administration, he gave him 90 days, especially the National Security Council, to give him a report. And what did they do? The first head of the National Security Council during his first administration quit or was fired. I can't remember. And then he gave it to a second person that he really thought he trusted, and he did nothing. And in the end, when it finally came out long past the deadline, it was against Trump. So he's learned all of his lessons. He doesn't need any of those people to make his decisions, okay? So, as I've always said, show me anyone besides Ron Paul in Washington, D.C. that is not completely corrupted by their second term. After the second term, every one of them has their money stream in line. That's what keeps them alive. Nobody in D.C. lives off the salary we, the people, pay them. We know that the senior executive service, sometimes they can be paid like Rex Tillerson. When did a federal employee get paid millions of dollars a year? Okay. This was true with Wilbur Ross. It was true with all those people. Trump used it too. Now, every person in D.C. is corrupt. Trump didn't know that. We told you what's going to happen with Trump on the first day of his first administration. Somebody's going to walk in and they're going to say, sir, you think you're the president? You have no power whatsoever. We in the House control your money purse, so don't mess with us. They walked out. Someone in the Senate came in and said, we have it down to one vote. Do you understand? All we have to do is turn one vote, and we have the power that no law ever gets to you, so you will be do-nothing president. We control you. They walked out. The intelligence community walked in and said, we have 17 communities, and this is what we know about you. They leaned forward and they said, these are the secrets about you, Mr. Trump. We have them all. But they had that with Trump ahead of time because Comey did that. But that's what they do to all politicians. Once they get in position, the FBI goes over and says, here's your secret file on you. You will do what we tell you to do. You will toe the line. You will stay with your party vote. And you will never, ever put in a bill without the corporate nation approving it. So all those people are compromised. He can't trust a single person there. So when it comes down to the principals committee, that's who's going to be ruling America. And because the U.S. Digital Service brings it right into his White House, that's what he said he was going to do, put it in the White House. And I laughed last time. I said, are they going to really put this in the White House? They probably put it in the vice president's basement, which is where the Naval Office has its headquarters in a big secret place down there. But it's probably now in the White House in the secure room so that he can actually control it from the secure room. You know, when they take the president of the secure room, they don't have the black box and they don't have the red button now, do they? You know, who controls him? That would be the Secret Service. Who's the Secret Service? The U.S. Treasury, U.S. Marshals. You ever have we not told you who runs the U.S. Treasury? That's the U.S. Fed. Who runs the U.S. Fed? That's the Brits. So when the president gets taken into the basement of the White House, the Brits have control of him completely. So now, nope, not anymore. I can tell you, I haven't read every word of every one of these, but every one of them has a slippery lawyer phrase at the beginning, middle, and end, just to make sure you got the point that he is absolutely taking the power from these people that Chevron deference showed us had taken over the federal government. They call it the deep state. We don't. We call it transnationalists, globalists, the shadow government, and we name the people.
Something else that happened to us during our the last few years when we weren't posting for decoding and things like that. The FBI kept knocking on our door. Well, we knew what they wanted, but we didn't open the door because we know not to open the door. Instead, we hired one of Detroit's top defense attorneys, real badass dude, and he contacted them and said, "What are you doing knocking on their door?" And apparently they didn't like what we were posting online. So, see, we all have our run-ins. And how far you go with it, it depends upon your situational awareness and your preparedness to say no. And so when I look at this monster thing that Ellison and Sam Altman are building, I go, well, and this whole humanism thing that's happening, and thanks to Facts Over Fear for the posting of all the material you do on what's going on with the mechanics of transhumanism. But I say that we'll have a choice to make. You can choose to be with that or not. Don't do it. You talk about cancer and getting a vaccine for cancer. Why don't you stop eating seed oils, which is nothing but motor oil that you're putting in your body? How do you think your body's going to respond to it? And stop with the sugar. The sugar industry, the lobbyists are strong. They're not going away. They bring a lot of money into K Street. But you as a consumer can say no, just like we said no to their faggot beer. So in the end, we consumers can say no, and we can put them out of business. I also want to note the strange behaviors that people have. I already mentioned during the inauguration, Usha Vance, she had a smile on her that was glued onto her like a Stepford wife, and her eyes were just batty crazy. She kept blinking and blinking. Then I realized, okay, she probably has never worn false eyelashes, so that's a nuisance, and she's blinking. And she probably had her PR person say, "You're not smiling enough." So she had this constant smile on her. But I was looking at this, and I didn't see what was going on behind her with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. The behavior that I saw makes me wonder, have these boys already been chipped with a Neuralink?
And drugs, they're both noted for that. Remember, that's the second Jeff Bezos. And look what his wife was wearing. And at one point, he was just staring at her breasts. I mean, and so were people next to her.
No. Facebook guy, that Mark Zuckerberg, was looking at her chest, not her husband.
Well, Mark was too.
Mark was looking at it. Look, here's the thing. You can have all the money in the world, but that woman has no class. She's just trash. To sit there and have her bra exposed. And Mark Zuckerberg, he's probably never seen a female breast.
Yeah. Basically, it's like they're little boys and somebody had their zipper down and they can't look away because Mark was like he might as well have put his head into her cleavage. It was ridiculous. And then Elon Musk was behind him, wiggling his head as if, as Tyler says, he's on ketamine. I think some psychological drug. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, he was tripping. There was no doubt he was tripping, okay? So you're looking at the oligarchs. Now, I have some friends who say, oh, America's gone. It's gone to the oligarchs. No. Trump knows exactly what Putin did, okay? He saw Soros come in and take down the USSR with stock market manipulation, gold manipulation, and with Leo Wanta, right? And that was Daddy Bush later followed that up when he started, that secret group he had in Azerbaijan. So they all do it, right? They manipulate another country so that they can get money. That's what this is really all about. So Trump saw Putin get manipulated. And then Putin has now become very angry about that. So what does he do? He still allows there to be oligarchs in his country. He's a total dictator. I know people think he's religious, but yeah, a lot of the worst people, fascists in the world, have been very religious, haven't they? Just take a look. So they think that he's religious. No, he's a ruthless killer. He's a dictator. And every oligarch that doesn't agree with him, what happens? Thrown out a window, killed, a car bomb, and his money that is put in Cyprus is taken. Well, Trump saw that. You think Trump doesn't know that he can't count on Elon? He's going after Elon's eldest son. Okay, that's That's his kind of plan, okay? He's not going after George Soros. He's going after Alexander Soros. He's not going after Ellis. Ellis is old. He's going after whoever is going to own that because he knows it's fake. So they can put anybody in charge of those things. He is doing an oligarch's deal here. And the deal with every Trump deal is he gets more than 50%, okay? Maybe, the big guy, Biden got 10%, Trump gets 50%. Now, he's going to give half of that to America, okay? Look at it. He got a $3 billion deal at the Doral in Florida. He got this massive billion, no one even knows how big the $1 billion deal is in Saudi Arabia. He's getting $1 billion deal after the next before he becomes the president. He has other dictators bowing down to him. The meme I liked was Trump was answering his hotel door looking through the peephole, and who's outside? Putin looking very depressed, and Kim Jong-un with a bottle of champagne. This is what's happening. That's what he did the last time. Now he's out of control. He's got 1,000 times more power than last time. And as I said, I'm going to keep repeating because I like to emphasize just how infallible Jesuits are. How correct I am is that he wouldn't do a thing, wouldn't be able to do a thing, these are my words, until his second term.
And just let me say, when we hired this defense attorney, it was a criminal defense attorney. And he asked us, why would you hire a criminal defense attorney? Because the FBI is a criminal terrorist organization that works inside the United States government. So we have to be protected from these criminals.
Oh, he went over there. Okay, they came here 3 times, and they were going to harass us, we found out, because he told us this ultimately. So he goes over to their desk because they wouldn't answer the phone to him because he kept calling too many times. So he goes over to the desk and pops up on the guy that he knew was actually really in charge, not the other people, because we had described this guy. And he goes, oh, I know who that is. Yeah. So he goes to his desk, and the guy looks up and he sees him, and he gets startled, and he says, show me the evidence. Why are you harassing them? Have you never heard of free speech? Show me the evidence now. And he steps behind to look on the computer screen, and the guy fakes like he's looking for the evidence. He says, well, it looks like we can't find the evidence. And so the guy says, then I take it that you will not be harassing my clients anymore. And he says, well, we don't have the evidence. Well, remember, that evidence was stolen, used against us, was not what it was said to be. So it had 3 layers of lies in it for them to come here and have what they call a knock and talk, where they get their foot through the door, get in, and they try to, dominate you or harass you?
That's right. But old Betsy, I could feel it coming. I could just feel it coming. So I rigged up the whole property with cameras and signs, proper signage, got all the laws and saw it. And Douglas thinks I'm crazy. I go, wait, it'll happen. There was a knock on the door, and I looked at him and I said, stay right there. Let me look at the cameras. And I looked at the cameras, and it looked like a couple of boys from the Patriot Front there at the front door. There was a gal there. And I said, don't answer it. That's the feds. Yeah. And sure enough, they leave their business card. And then we didn't answer them for 2 weeks. We didn't even hire the criminal defense attorney then. We said, just go away. But then they came again, and they knocked. But we already had the attorney lined up. We went down to see him. Now, weren't they surprised when our top-notch Detroit criminal defense attorney showed up at that guy's desk and said, why are you harassing my girlfriend Tyler?
And the first time we looked at it, okay, I said, wait a second, this is completely suspicious. That bozo girl is like a lawyer. And she has this little black thing that she's holding, which she has no intention of ever looking at. So she's trying to make it look like she's soliciting. The guy puts his back with his head right up to the camera, which is what a person does. I can see, I clairvoyantly know he's got a gun. And I'm saying, no, these are really bad people. So we did not answer the door. So the next time they came, they tried a little bit sneaker. Then they went to our neighbors and put cards on their door and so on and so forth. One single person standing up saying, do you know what the law is? You're supposed to be law enforcement. Stopped it.